Now for 10 seconds of shameless e-bagging. Please like the video if you like it. Check out all my other mystery videos and just straight up vintage crochet tutorial and antique crochet tutorials. And also subscribe, please. I'm trying to get to 200,000 subscribers. It would ensure that for your benefit, you wouldn't miss out on any future antique and vintage crochet videos and some non-vintage videos that are from my old channel. Okay, shameless e-bag over. Let's get into the video. Hello, welcome to Just Vintage Crochet. Okay, so the last pattern I did was from the Queen's Court crochet book. And we had 2 more patterns from that book to work on. This is the one with no picture that I'm currently working on, but it's taking me a little longer than I thought to finish this one up. It's a bigger piece. There's a lot more stitches to it. So in the background, behind the scenes, I am actively working on that and filming on it here and there. But in the meantime, we've only got two more patterns left to work. So I figured instead of plucking a pattern, I'm just going to work this one and then this one. Here are the stitch terms for those who are new to the channel. I do know these stitch terms, but this is mostly for your sake if you want to pause the screen and read. Basically, a plain is a modern US single crochet. And back then, these patterns here, it doesn't say what year they're from, but they're from like 1846. We don't really work in anything outside of a single crochet, a chain, and what we know as today as a US double crochet. That's it. There are no other stitches as far as crochet goes in these pattern books. Okay, so I already knew I was going to make this one because I read through both of them, and I believe this one here is a repeat of one I've already done. So I'm going to save this one for last because I still have that little bag from, this was one of the first patterns I ever made on this channel in the mystery series. So I want to save that one for last. So I've never seen this one before. This one looks totally different. It calls for a double Berlin wool, which is thicker than a sport weight, but ever so slightly thinner than a number 4 worsted weight / Aran weight, right? So that's fine. And it says here that they want the colors shaded wool of violet, green, scarlet, blue, and orange. So I am going to use a shaded wool, and this is what I'm going to use, and it has basically all the colors that they ask for it. I get it. They probably want striping. That's fine. I'm going to use this instead. This is wool. It's a roving yarn, so it is mostly wool. It's 85% wool and then 15% polymade, which is the thread that they use to keep the woving together. I think it's going to look nice. And so, yeah, the hook I figured I was going to use with this is the 5mm hook. This doesn't call for a hook size, just a knitting needle size. But I already tested it. Now this yarn comes from Hooks and Needles, and it is made in Portugal. I almost said Portugal. And it is their Merino Mirage is what it's called. I'm not 100% sure, but I think, don't quote me on this, I think Hooks and Needles sells yarn by itself on their shop. Okay, so we're going to start with a chain of 100. I know this stuff looks like it's super thick. What it is it's puffy fluffy. It's actually quite thin. Look how flat that is. It's actually quite thin. All right, so it wants us to start with 100 chains. First row, again, I'm just going to use all the same things, so we're not going to worry about color changing. The first row, 1 chain, 3 double crochet. So when it says treble, that's a US double crochet. 3 double crochet in 1, miss 3, and then you work your 1 chain. So we're not going to start with 1 chain. We're going to start with the 3 double in 1. So the repeat starts here, but our row will start here. And then it says work 5 rows more the same, always working the 3 double crochet stitches in the chain stitch of the row before. So we will be working in the chain stitch. Then 6 rows of green, 6 of scarlet, 6 of blue, 6 of orange, and commence the first row. I'm not going to be doing any color changing. The size must be according to the blank it is to cover about 16 inches. So I'm guessing 16 inches in growth. So seems like a fairly straightforward pattern, and that I can make for you a quick video and still work on this one in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my 100 stitches. I don't know if whatever this item is I'm going to keep. It sounds like a fairly simple item. I may not keep it. I may wind up unraveling it to save this yarn for another future project, or for a hat or some other pattern I get super jazzed up to see. And as you can see, my 5mm hook is really a great size for this. Okay, I will be back. Okay, so I worked an extra 5 stitches because I like to do that whenever I'm starting off with double crochets, because they never tell you how many stitches to add for your turning chain. So I just add 5, and the ones I don't need that wind up being too much, I just unravel them on the end. It's not a problem. Okay, so we're going to start with 3 double crochet. 1, 2. I think what I'm going to do is skip the first 2 chains as if they're nothing, and in the 3rd chain over I'm going to work 3 double crochet, and these first 2 chains will just be absolutely nothing, just builder. They won't count as a stitch. So I'm going to try to end with 3 double crochet. Working those extra 5 chains might help me actually accomplish that. So there we go, starting off with my 3 double crochet. This one here doesn't count, that's just a builder. It said to chain 1 and miss 3. 1, 2, 3. So in the 4th, we work our Van Dyke stitch. Later on in history, this was called the Van Dyke stitch, where you work 3 stitches or even 4 or 5 stitches into one. Nowadays we call it the granny stitch, sort of a nickname, not really an official name. Toward the late 1800s, this was called the cluster stitch. Nowadays, anything that's more than 3 double crochet into a stitch is called a cluster stitch, if you wanted to just simplify it. Or it's a fan stitch or a shell stitch. 1, 2, 3. But shortly after the 1840s, around sometime in the 1850s at least, that's the first I noticed that this being called a Van Dyke stitch. And thanks to some of you, that's likely because it looks like a Van Dyke mustache. So that's wonderful. And it was rarely, from all the patterns I have, I rarely saw any patterns calling this a Van Dyke stitch in like the 1890s. It was a cluster stitch. But for most of crochet's history in the Victorian era, which starts around 1830 in Europe, it was called a Van Dyke stitch about mid-century. 2, 3, here we go. Okay, I'm going to work this all the way to the end, and then I'll come back and we'll work the next row together. So I wound up with only 2 extra stitches that I can unravel. It's not a problem. And if I unravel the whole thing, because I decide it's not something I need to keep, then I'm just going to leave these here for now and not worry about it. But there we go. The color changes are pretty fun. So now we have to turn and work the Van Dyke stitches in the chain 1 space. So what I need to do is chain 1, 2, 3, and then 2 more. 1, 2, or just 1. Maybe just a total of 4, since we're only working a chain 1. Then work my first Van Dyke and see how well that chain 4 fits. Seems like it's going to fit all right. The last Van Dyke, when coming back this way, will go right here. So what I'll wind up doing is working 2 under the chain 1, and then into the top of this 3rd chain, I'll work the 3rd one just to keep the edges straight. I'll show you what I mean. Get some more yarn. So I'll do one more over here, skip over the 3. Let's see, 1, 2, and 3. So now what I will do is pretend like I am going to start working this way again. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Work a Van Dyke stitch here. 1, 2. I like to have a battle plan laid out before I carry on. Chain 1. So this would be the last stitch here. So under the chain 1, I'm going to work 2 double crochet, and then into the top of the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So right here, I will work the third one just to keep the edges clean and straight. See how that looks straight? So this is basically how whatever this is going to look. Kind of long color changes. I don't mind it at all. Which color is next? My goodness. Yeah, long color changes. I may get some kind of striping out of this after all. Is this nothing but orange? What is going on here? I mean, I'm just going like this now, and it's just now starting to color change. So kind of a pukey green. How long is it going to be pukey? Oh my goodness. When's the next color change? Don't tell me we're going back into orange again. Absolutely not. I guess the major color changes are on the outside. Look at that. I have 2. All right, well, looks like this thing here is going to be mostly orange and puke. Be right back. I think these must have been hand dyed because the color is really inconsistent. It's like uniform, but also a touch of chaos at the same time. And it's, let's see, there's some others. As I'm working, I just come across these random patches of color that don't go with what's happening, you know? So I feel like these, look at that, were just sort of hand dyed. Perhaps, I don't know. Like that there. Yeah, a little bit of chaos. I kind of like it. I'm kind of here for it, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, continuing on. And I think I'm at about, oh, let's see. Let's just take a quick look-see. I think I'm somewhere around 10 or 11 inches now. I'm mostly curious what this is supposed to be. Oh, I'm only at just under 9 inches. Little ways to go still. No, I'm right at 9 inches. There it is right there, right at 9 inches. So about 7 more inches to go because it wants 16 inches. Of course, I'm just going to work until this runs out because these are the only two I have in this color. So once this runs out, I think it'll still be just under 16 inches. I'm not sure. Either way, moving right along. Okay, so I did run out of yarn. I'm at about 12.5 inches. And I do love the scattered effect. Like it's like uniform, but scattered at the same time, almost like calico. I like that. So there's our pattern. I will hold that up for you so that you can screenshot that and keep it for yourself. And let's see what it's supposed to be. So I'll be right back. So this threw me for a loop because it says round sofa cover, sofa pillow, forgive me. And I thought to myself, uh-oh, we have the wrong title. Justin has the wrong title marked for the wrong pattern, for this pattern. And so I matched it up and it was absolutely cut off of this pattern. It matches up perfectly. Let's see if I can hold that up in a way you can see. There, matches up perfectly. So then I thought, well, then what does this say? So I went ahead and went on my computer and looked up the pattern book, and it says pillow right here, right there. So it's the correct pattern. I can only assume it's one of those like tube style pillows, you know, probably sew it like this, and then your pillow goes in here, you know, and it makes sort of a sausage roll style pillow, a neck pillow in a way, or a travel pillow. You know, it would be a pillow like this. Of course, with an actual pillow in there, probably with a tassel hanging off each end. But that's what I got. And since I don't have any use for this piece of material finished right here, I am going to undo this roll. I'm going to join them together with the magic knot and just make one big cake out of this. It's wool, but it's very soft wool. And I think this would make a great scarf or hat, probably hat and fingerless gloves. So that's what I'm going to do with this. This right here just reminds me of bubblegum for some reason, the pink and the blue. Just random bit of pink there. Yeah, I love the uniform chaos of this. I weaved in this end along the way as I went. It's going to be really easy to undo though, just down here so I can unravel it. Just give this a pull. There we go. It'll come right out. There we go. And then I can unravel this, join these two ends here together with a magic knot. It doesn't matter that there's a sudden color change because there's nothing but sudden color changes randomly. And so that's what I'm going to do with this. So that's it on this pattern. The one we have left is this one. So I'm going to get started on that video right away. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Please like the video. These are things you can do to help support my channel more than anything else. I love you all, and I will see you in the next mystery. Bye.